Emotional Intelligence. Why It Can Matter More Than IQ. By Daniel Gillerman. What are emotions for? If you are ever faced with a critical situation involving your loved ones and have to make a decision, what would you do? Most likely, you would prefer what your emotions suggest rather than thinking intellectually. This happens because your brain works on parallel sides. When you encounter a critical situation, you have to decide between two options: number 1, logic, and number 2, desire. Like today, people in the past, too, used to have emotional reactions on different life situations. However, unlike now, they did not have many platforms to let them out. Moreover, culture equally affects your reactions. You display your emotions bounded within your judgments, history and ancestors' experiences. It is your emotions that force your reactions, for instance, in time of anger or depression. The human mind itself contains two sides, one, rational, and the other, emotional. Every so often, you want to think rationally but end up doing what your heart desires. Here, emotional intelligence, quotient, EQ, can be declared as the ruling intelligence. There is a constant battle between logic and heart, which is understandable. The brain has a part located on top of the spinal cord named brainstem, which practically deals with all human emotions. Similarly, it is a part of our brain, named neocortex, that has resulted out of human evolution spanning millions of years, which brings our thoughts and emotions together. It primarily enables a connection between limbic structures and generates emotional feelings and desires. Anatomy of an emotional hijacking. Sometimes, you find yourself reacting abruptly without even thinking for a second. It's the limbic brain, and in that, the amygdala specifically, that reacts and does the most unpredictable things in life. These instant reactions are not necessarily depressing. They can occur in joyful situations too. Some studies even prove that the human mind doesn't need cortex and neocortex to feel the emotions. Amygdala alone can react in emotional situations. On numerous occasions, it is our past experiences that trigger our amygdala, and we react just as we had before. While the amygdala responds instantly, it's the left cortex of our brain that maintains the rational side and reacts logically. A balance is crucial between the two. Having an intellect is great, but an ability to involve our emotions while deciding about something is the best. When smart is dumb. It is commonly believed that high IQ, intelligence quotient, guarantees success. However, suppose a world filled with robots or people who think in that manner. Wouldn't it be a lot duller and a messier place? Destiny is in favor of emotionally intelligent people. Although people with high IQ excel in academics, they are usually not the masters of the art of understanding people and their needs. When people do not understand each other, they make the wrong decisions. It is the emotions that primarily distinguish human beings from other creatures. This is a kind of intelligence that is necessary to live a life of human empathy and feelings. Men and women who possess low EQ have an inept approach towards life. Therefore, it is essential to learn and have a balance between IQ and EQ. With a balanced approach, you would be able to know your abilities and emotions, and how you can manage them well. Know thyself. People can be of two types: people who are full of emotions, and the others, who are emotionless. These people can be further subdivided into certain distinctive styles. The first style type is of the people who know their emotions and the ways to get out of the depressive moods. Second, are those who cannot control their emotions and inundate with them. The last kind is of the people who accept their emotional changes irrespective of their negativity or positivity. If you observe it in terms of gender, you will notice that women are more capable of experiencing the emotions and conversing about them as compared to men. Irrespective of your gender though, there are times when you find yourself dwelling on the paths of despair, wondering what to do next. During such times, you must tolerate yourself by accepting your feeling. You must also remember that life can be a catastrophe if you are deprived of your gut feelings. You cannot decide everything rationally and need emotions to make decisions as per your needs. With awareness about your feelings, you can learn to manage them, which is an essential step towards building emotional intelligence. Passion's slaves. Being in diverse moods is a normal human trait. However, staying in that state for an extended period will affect your life. You should know how to get out of the current mood and enter into a better one. It is the amygdala in your brain that generates instant reactions, and you must have the command over the measures to control them. When life puts you in a distressful situation, the real problem only occurs when you can't escape it for a single moment. Even when depression attacks, you should not give up. Instead, you ought to adopt activities to lift your mood instead of replaying what happened and why it happened. You ought to display your emotions when the time comes, otherwise, you will burst up and embarrass yourself. The master aptitude. Ups and downs are a part of life. However, if you cannot control your emotions in such situations, you will inflict a lot of harm upon yourself. To maintain emotional intelligence, you need to keep hold of your impulses. You cannot simply perform with bad moods, as they will affect your thought process and hold you from achieving your optimum. With emotional intelligence, you will ignore the setbacks and focus on the performance. People who are optimists never lose hope and accept their emotions in the moments of failure to return on the path to success. Therefore, a person who has a higher level of emotional intelligence will reach their peak factor without getting interrupted. This peak factor zone is known as flow, something which enables you to focus on the things that interest you. The roots of empathy. When you are capable of feeling what others feel or get hurt on, you are empathetic. People who lack empathy are unaware of their own emotions and cannot identify the emotions of others either. These people are known as alexithymics. Children, when born, have an absolute sense of this trait where they are unable to distinguish themselves from other people. After a year or two, although they get their sense of empathy, it is their brought up that defines the future of their empathetic nature. This is where the process of attunement comes into play. Here, mothers identify the emotional needs of their children and ensure their fulfillment. However, if parents fail to cater to these emotional needs of children aged between 8 to 12 months for an extended period, they stop showing their feelings and lack basic empathy. When children learn to see themselves in others' shoes, they gain another level of morality as they grow. Psychopaths and sociopaths, on the other hand, lack this in their growth and hence commit horrendous acts. The social arts. To manage relationships, one must start controlling and managing themselves besides the need to regulate others' emotions. Human beings have set rules of displaying emotions that get affected by cultural and time differences. It is the people who understand these rules and act upon them according to given situations, who are emotionally intelligent. People with a high level of emotional intelligence tend to have great relationships, as they express their feelings well and are also aware of other person's emotions. There are primarily 4 components of emotional intelligence. These are: 1. Group organization. 2. Solving issues. 3. Personal links. 4. Examining social matters. All of these are interpersonal skills, and if not attained with balance, they can leave you in a blank state. People who don't understand basic societal rules are the ones who have spent their childhood in an unsuitable environment. They are also the ones who find it difficult to fit into society. Intimate enemies. With time, the divorce rate has reached its highest. Economic and social pressures might be among the reasons, but the lack of emotional intelligence is the biggest cause. The fact is that men and women are different because they process life differently. For women, the key to a successful relationship is communication, whereas men have other principles and goals. While men cannot read feelings and emotions easily, women are mostly natural at it. Therefore, to move past their differences, both men and women need to understand the existence of these dissimilarities first. Men and women face problems mostly when they are involved in romantic relationships, including marriage. It is certain habits that make a marriage failed or bored. For instance, your criticism of your partner must never be personal but always on their actions. Similarly, you should avoid making faces that display disgust or disdain. Also, do not remain silent, as the Cold War never solves issues. It is a fact that men prefer stonewalling rather than talking about genuine relationship problems, something which is unacceptable for women. While women want to confront, men avoid dialogues to let their heart be at peace. Eventually, this lack of conversation creates numerous issues in the marriage. Men and women, first of all, need an understanding of the opposite genders and their divergences. Secondly, men need to adopt the behavior of a listener rather than a fixer. If you are a husband, you must always try to understand the blusters and whines of your wife. Women, on the other hand, need to stop criticizing their husbands, especially during times of distress. During such times, you only need to understand your spouse, give them some space and listen to them. In short, acquire emotional intelligence and have patience. Managing with heart. Why don't people with great IQs perform well at the workplace while others consistently do? This is because some of the good performers can look beyond their performance and comprehend other people's emotions and responses well. A workplace without emotionally intelligent people is more of a prison, as no one cares about you, and you have no way to raise your voice either. Emotional intelligence is also essential for leadership. As a leader, you must know your team well enough to get the best out of them. This is the art of making the most of your team. This also includes identifying the difference between constructive and destructive criticism. You ought to be cautious about each word that you utter and its possible consequences, as inappropriate comments can severely demotivate your team. Culture is also vitally important for a successful business. No one should be treated unjustly because of their religion, political views and caste. Group activities can solve a lot of issues relating to unawareness about numerous societal differences. Furthermore, such activities also enhance the interpersonal skills of the employees. However, change cannot occur on a broader scale until it starts occurring at the individual level. Mind and medicine. A compassionate doctor heals the 50% illness of their patient by their words. This statement has been proven by hundreds of researches that even continue to date. You can never deny the fact that a kind doctor soothes your soul, whereas a cruel one scratches it, and ultimately makes you vulnerable. Furthermore, there have been many studies that establish the connection between the brain and the immune system. If a patient is undergoing trauma, he cannot be operated upon because of his mental state. Contrarily, an optimist has a better chance of clinical recovery than a pessimist. This is a reason why strategies need to be introduced in hospitals and medical institutes to construct the relationship between health and emotions. The family crucible. Family is the first ever learning institute of a child to experience emotions and acquire them. Parents who are emotionally intelligent nurture better understanding with children and develop a healthy connection with them. Children who get appreciated in childhood become a better person when they grow old. Contrarily, parents who don't cater to their children's emotional needs risk nurturing a bully or an insensitive person. Therefore, being a parent, you must remain careful while interacting with your children, as it has a significant impact on their future. Trauma.